MS now eviscerates Donald Trump. In this video, we'll be discussing this particular reporting from MS Now. But I want to share with you something shocking. If you do not know who Peter Mandelson is, you should, because this guy shows what it is to be Jeffrey Epstein's agent. I'm telling you, literally, this guy was working for Jeffrey Epstein, and he is now, Peter Mandelson, under criminal investigation for allegedly leaking sensitive government information to Epstein and receiving payments. Now, before I move on, just to remind you, if you're not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Help me, support me with this whole thing that I'm trying to bring you all the updates and reports about. Again, consider subscribing. Now, this is going to be a huge bombshell. This includes tipping Epstein off. Peter Mandelson, he tipped Epstein off about a 500 billion euro bailout. What in the world is happening, guys? What in the world is happening? These people whom we trust are betraying us. We are not holding them accountable. Investigation is going on against him. What do you mean by investigation going on? If had it been an immigrant, people of color, he would have been locked up by now. 500 billion euro bailout, he said. And spoke to Epstein and shared information with him. The scandal has led to calls for the resignation of Prime Minister Keir Starmer due to his appointment of Mandelson, even though Starmer has no personal ties to Epstein. But here is a guy. Here is a bit but. All of them, from the top to the bottom, all of these people, guys, are involved in Jeffrey Epstein. They know Jeffrey Epstein. They protected him. All of them. The elite class protected him. I want you to take a listen at this video a little bit, and then I will add some more comments.
The latest batch of Epstein files also detailed the social and business entanglements Epstein had with Trump Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Now, being associated with Jeffrey Epstein is not a crime. Epstein was a businessman and a creepy version of a socialite. He did business with and socialized with a lot of people, as we now know. But check out how Trump Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick described his relationship to Epstein late last year. This was Lutnick telling the New York Post about an incident with Epstein, who happened to be Lutnick's next-door neighbor when he visited his house back in 2005.
I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. Ooh. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Ooh. Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her. And we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Okay. He was quite the storyteller there. I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. That's how Lutnick described his decision to cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein in 2005. Lutnick even went further, telling the New York Post not only that he made the decision to never see Epstein after that, but that he, in fact, never did see Epstein after that.
I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Yeah, he is gross. But again, that was Lutnick just 4 months ago, saying that he was never even in a room with Epstein, not socially, not for business, not even philanthropy. Then in this latest batch of Epstein files, well, we got this. This is an email from Howard Lutnick to Jeffrey Epstein from December 19, 2012. And yes, if you're doing the math, it is 7 years after Lutnick claims to have cut Epstein out socially, to have been disgusted by him, to think he's gross, in which Lutnick arranged to have lunch with Epstein on Epstein's private island, saying, quote, "Hi, Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon. Where are you located? What is the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple with me on my boat. Each of us has 4 children, 2 16-year-olds, 2 14-year-olds, a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, and 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Thanks, Howard."
Oh my God. This is sickening. This is sickening. He's talking to a pedo and telling him how many kids he has. Oh my God. This is sickening.
Epstein then replied, quote, "Come Saturday or Sunday for lunch, ? And gave the exact location of his island. To which Lutnick replied, "Okay, lunch on Sunday. See you then." Now, I don't know if Howard Lutnick does not include an island as being in the same room as him, but that is quite a stretch. That all seems pretty social to me. Now, when the New York Times confronted Lutnick about the existence of those emails, Lutnick said he could not comment on the island visit because he had not seen the latest Epstein documents. Now, that wasn't exactly the question, was it? I'm guessing anyone would remember taking their family to an island with a known predator, I would think. Lutnick told the Times, quote, "I spent zero time with him," and then Lutnick hung up on the reporter. Now, today, Senator Chris Van Hollen held Lutnick's feet a little closer to the fire, much closer, asking him about the island visit while Lutnick was testifying to the Senate. And this time, Secretary Lutnick seemed to remember a lot more about that trip.
Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island.
Again, there's a lot to unpack there. Taking your children to the island with Jeffrey Epstein and nannies, lots, but we don't have time for that. But again, it's not a crime to have lunch with someone, no matter how terrible they are. It's not even a crime to lie to the press. But why was Howard Lutnick lying? Why was he so emphatically denying he had any relationship at all with Jeffrey Epstein when he clearly did have a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? In England, Jeffrey Epstein is so toxic that the literal King of England is telling the police he will help them investigate his own brother. The Prime Minister.
And I want to actually share something about this. King Charles, and I do admire him, he is supporting a police investigation into his brother Prince Andrew due to his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Howard Lutnick or lunatic, Trump's Commerce Secretary, initially denied any social or business relationship with Epstein, claiming he was quote-unquote disgusted by him in 2005. However, newly released emails show Lutnick arranged a lunch with Epstein on his private island in 2012, bringing his family. When confronted, Lutnick initially claimed he had not seen the documents, but later admitted to the island visit during Senate testimony. And I have actually just shown you the video. And I can tell you guys, of course he's lying. There is absolutely no doubt about that. The Trump administration is trying to sweep all of this under the rug, according to sources and unredacted names and calls for transparency. These are all thrown in the garbage. Trump administration is not going to listen to us. The names are redacted. Now, Congressman Khanna and Thomas Massie, they have shared their personal opinion and what they believe after they have been able to unredact some of the names. But guys, these names will be redacted, and no matter how hard you try, you'll not be able to see all of the names, because they include Donald Trump, they include Elon Musk. Congressman Khanna, as I said, Thomas Massie, reviewed the unredacted Epstein files and found that 70 to 80% were still redacted. People who support Donald Trump, I do not know how else I can tell them your president is a pedo. This is the biggest example of someone who is trying to hide his own crimes, his pedo activities. He redacted 70 to 80%. Is still redacted. I mean, we're talking about those newly released 3 million files. What about the remaining 3 million more files? Oh my God. Khanna publicly named 6 wealthy, powerful men whose initiatives were hidden, whose identities were hidden, and we have discussed about this in a separate video. Leslie Wexner's legal representative stated he was a source of information about Epstein, not a target. I mean, guys, these names are coming out. Khanna believes there are many more names being covered up in the 3 million files. Do you doubt that? I don't. Man, I have had it enough. We are not getting the truth, and the elite, they are telling us, you're not gonna get me. What you can do about it? I'm gonna be committing all these pedo crimes and getting away with it because I'm powerful, I'm rich, and I have influence, and I have a cult I'm running, and I have blind followers, i.e. MAGA cults. That's what they're running right now. And they're very, very arrogant. Their hubris knows no bound. Subscribe for more videos. See you in the next one.